Hey, Grant Hall, super excited to have you here today with the official Black magazine to talk about the next up and coming season of Grownish, and your character is Kyle. Not gonna lie, when I seen Kyle last season, I was like, that guy. It reminded me of that dude from Dear White People. I was like, oh, he but
It's funny because I had a feeling that was coming.
is
I
it
knew it.
give you that? Does everybody give you that slack for it?
Yeah, I've gotten it a couple times.
Oh man. Well, that's a good thing though, because that's a testament to that character, unless that's how you are in real life.
No, 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 that's not me. Kyle is very, very separate from me as Grant, 100%.
Nice, nice. I love that. So I would love to get straight into this news, actually this first season that you were on, and then we can expect from Kyle and yourself for this next season.
Okay. I would say Kyle's gonna go through like a transformation. Because where it leads off is him and his girlfriend Annika, they split and they go their separate ways, and she finds somebody else, and he's kind of doing his thing to try to get her back. So I don't want to spoil too much, you know what I mean? I don't want to give away too many details, but we'll definitely see a little bit of a transformation with the character, absolutely.
Nice, I love that. How was the experience auditioning for Kyle for last season and actually getting the role?
Oh man, it was definitely an interesting one. I'll say that. I almost didn't even audition.
Really?
I almost didn't even do it. Crazy thing.
Why?
I was playing baseball last year. I was playing college baseball, and I had a game scheduled for like the same time as like the audition deadline. So I kind of had to make the choice. And I made a choice the night before that I just wasn't going to do the audition. I was like, I'm
Yeah.
going to the game, can't do it. Hey, hands are tied. And and for some reason, like when I was sleeping that night, I heard like a voice of like intuition, God, and it just told me clear as day, do the audition.
Yeah.
And it was so clear that if I would have denied it, I would have been stupid. Like it just told me straight up, do it. And I woke up the next day like I have to do it. And I called my friend Roman. We do all our tapes together, and we knocked it out and end up getting the role.
Wow. What was that made you not want to do it, especially because you've already been doing acting, you've already been in different types of shorts, different movies, different, shows. What was it that said, you know what? Yeah, I'm okay right now.
You know what? I did. So I had two auditions. That question reminded me. Uh, I had two. So the first one, I did the audition. I thought it was good. I sent it off, and they sent me the same request for the same scene, and all I was supposed to do was change one word. So in my head, I'm like, well, it's one word. So if you guys like me, let me get the role. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Um, but it was just a test. It was a callback without saying it was a callback, if I had to guess. And
Oh, okay.
that was the thing. So I did the audition. I've always been pretty good about like doing the auditions. But it was another one. So I'm like, is this a mistake? Like they didn't tell me anything.
Yeah.
So I did it, and obviously I'm very grateful that I did.
Nice. I love to hear that. That's great. I love that you listen to your intuition, and that's something that we should all do because we kind of ignore that a lot of times. So,
Mm.
especially being on a show like Grownish, coming off from like Blackish, a spinoff, right? That's really taking a life of its own. How was that process? Understanding that this is like, this spinoff show that's really Black, millennial, Gen Z, really Gen Z focused, right? Was there any pressure you felt, and then working with all these other individuals that like did you feel like, man, I just need to make sure I landed?
Yeah, yeah, I'll be honest. I remember the first scene, probably the hardest scene that I did of the season was the first day, our first shoot. And it was with Marcus Scribner, who plays Junior. And I've been seeing Marcus for a while, like, but only on screen, you know? And
Uh-huh.
it's like you don't realize how real it is until they're right in front of your face. And I remember we hopped in the van, and we just like said hi, introduced ourselves, and he was like, "You want to run lines?" I was like, "Yeah, we'll do lines." And I knew the scene inside and out because, like I said, I did two auditions for it, so I know this scene. And he said his first line, and my mind went blank. I didn't, man. I was so out of it. And I was like, wait, hold up, guys. Can we start from the beginning? And they started laughing and that kind of stuff. But it was because like the reality kicked in. Like, yo, this is a real, like
Mhm.
a bona fide star, a TV star. And I guess this is where my life has taken me. But after that, we got it flown and it was all good. But that moment was just like it was like your mind exploding,
Nice. How
you
did
know?
it feel with the season being renewed and your character coming back? Because I always, whenever I have these interviews with actors and actresses, they always say the one thing is you're just waiting to see if your character's gonna come back.
Yeah, no, that is the truth. Um, yeah, there was some time where I was like, man, like, did they like what I did? Like, the coming back or, um, but yeah. I've been blessed to be able to do more episodes following what I've done.
Nice. Do you know if your character's coming back? Any like, do you know when, or do you guys, you know what I mean? Like, do
Yeah,
they tell you prior, like, hey, we've been renewed and your character's coming back, or is it one of those things where it's like, hey, we've been renewed and we'll call you if we need you?
pretty much, pretty much that second one.
We're not gonna promise you too much. We're
Man,
promising snow's coming, but we don't know if Grant's coming.
I'll tell you, you're very left in the dark in this business. You're
Oh,
always left in the dark until they let you know something, you
nice.
know.
Being
Mhm.
left in the dark is sometimes like it's so troublesome for all of us, right? Because you're in a business where you don't want to be left in the dark. It's one thing where you don't get the promotion at a corporate job, but it's like for a TV series or a film, you're like, oh shoot, am I coming back for this? How do you stay, grounded, confident, and just like, positive during that waiting experience? If you do get it or if you don't get it.
Hmm. I just try to stay busy. Like I love going to acting classes. Um, if I don't have to be on a set that week, I'm gonna be in class at least like twice a week. So just always trying to grow the craft because I love it. At the end of the day, I just love doing it. I just love doing the thing, which is acting. So as long as I'm doing that, it just helps me feel like I'm sharpening and I'm getting better. And I know that opportunities are gonna come from the work. You know. So I just try
Nice.
to focus on that.
I love that. Speaking of your love for it and the craft, where did it come from? Take me back to Ohio where you just knew that this was it for you.
Man, I didn't know till late. I really didn't. Growing up, I was a class clown from the first day of school until the last day of school. Until like you get to college and people are like, all right, shut up. Like you know what I mean? They
Yeah.
got no time for it. Um, but so I always knew that I loved entertainment. But growing up in Ohio, the closest thing that we have to being on TV is just playing sports.
Yeah.
That was always my road. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get it playing sports until I got to I was playing baseball at a JUCO school. I don't know if you're familiar with like, JUCO and NCAA and that kind of thing.
No, I'm not the sports guy at all. Kind of built like it, but
Okay.
no, don't ask me anything. I wear any type of anything. They're like, hey, Yankees fan. I said, I just like it because it's blue and I got a white t-shirt on and I got some, jeans. I'm okay. I think it's going good. I think I'm color coordinated.
uh no, it's working, it's working.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I was playing it's community college baseball. Um, and I was playing there and I had a theater appreciation class. And the teacher had, studied acting for a long time. I think she had worked in Hollywood too. And she was taking attendance and she was just kind of like going around the room and looking at everybody. And she got to me and she like stopped and like stared at me. And I was like, what's going on? Like, am I in trouble? Like, what's happening? And she was just like, I think you have the perfect look for TV and film. And it was just like at that moment, it was just fruition. I was like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And I talked to her after and she got me involved in like the improv club and different theater groups and stuff. And I started doing it and I was just like, this is my purpose. And the rest is history. It just never stopped.
Yeah, nice. I love it. And the sports background probably helps keep you very disciplined and focused.
Absolutely. My dad was a pro athlete. So
Nice.
he instilled all that kind of stuff in me from the beginning.
Yeah.
And and yeah, he just it just never left my head. All this teaching, they still, they come back all the
Nice.
time.
You know, one thing is whenever I speak to anybody who's in entertainment who comes from a sports background, one thing you all have in common is it's always the same thing that everyone says is singular type of focus where you don't look at everybody as competition, you only look at yourself. It's like when you're on the field or if you're on the court, it's like you can see nobody else but Grant. Like Grant's responsible for Grant, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Absolutely.
and so when you guys are going into auditions and different things, you know, because you hear everybody's like, I'm nervous and whatnot, but something about that sports background is just like, I don't care if you're if I'm sitting next to like, you know, the next biggest one, I'm still gonna give it my all without letting, you know, I feel like you guys have these good blinders on.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I noticed that people who play sports are really good at hiding nerves.
Yeah.
No, and I didn't, because I think I always had it because people would tell me like, man, you don't look nervous, but inside I'd be like, you know what I mean? But I would see the other people and I'm like, oh, we do have that thing.
Yeah.
And just taught that like you can't show weakness.
Yeah.
And because weakness gets exposed and vulnerability, and the sports world is bad.
Yeah.
Um, and then you get to acting and it's like you had to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
So it's like, ah, man, okay. Um, so yeah, it's a different mindset with sports, but it carries over to everything. I think it's applicable to life for sure.
No, definitely. And I think the one thing is too, because casting directors, they already kind of have stoic facial expressions when you're doing a scene. So I think that's a great thing because you come in without that nervous energy. Because nervous energy is like, I can't pick this person if they're gonna be nervous on set. You know, no one has time. Time is money, and everybody's like, look, you got like 3 takes or you're out.
100%.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm,
Also,
100%.
you are in you know, brand deals, modeling. So how did it even that come about for you?
I started modeling before I was acting. Really,
Oh,
I remember it was probably like my first year in LA, year and a half, and I just walked into an agency back when you could do that, when you could just walk in agency,
yeah.
and I walked in and I told them like, yeah, I'd like to be rep by you guys if I could. And they're like, okay, fine. They just handed me a little clipboard, I filled it out. And they took the closest picture that anybody's ever taken of my face ever. Was like right in front of my face. Got all the pores, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And they took the picture and they're like, all right, we'll call you if we like you. And I was like, wow, okay. I left.
TV
Didn't
show,
ex-
I guess it was.
yeah, just oh man, of course, I didn't get it or whatever. And they emailed me, I think like 2 weeks later, and they were like, hey, we want you to come in and sign. And it ended up being like a agency that had acting, but they were primarily for modeling.
Mhm.
So once I started modeling with them, the modeling just kind of like took off. But I always knew that I need to shift it back to acting because that's what I want to do. But I'll do it in the meantime. But I still like it. I still enjoy it. But acting is of course the heart and soul.
Nice. I love it. What do you love the most about acting? What keeps you going? What keeps, you know, when the days get like a little rough, when, you know, the jobs aren't presenting themselves, or you just feel like you didn't do your best at that audition? What about this industry that makes you go, that makes Grant go, I'm still gonna give it my all every day, every time?
Mm, I think just the core of the craft, like knowing how it can transform people's lives, keeps me going, and just staying focused on that, and not the small minutia of everything else. And I know that you're not going to get everything at
Yeah.
the end of the day. So just let your previous successes keep you confident, and just keep moving forward towards your destiny. Because I know that the roles that are destined for you will come if you just battle through all the trials and tribulations. So just staying focused on destiny, I guess you could say.
Nice. I love that. You know, last I want to touch on a little bit is there's a lot of you do a lot of philanthropy. There's a lot of things, especially like Feeding America, American Cancer Society. You know, can you let everybody know why those two are near and dear to your heart?
Yeah. I guess. Well, my grandma had cancer. She had breast cancer back in like the earlier 2000s, and I remember seeing her go through that and like losing her hair and not knowing if she was going to be alive much longer. And she actually went through it twice.
Yeah.
So it just really moved my heart, and and made me devoted to that cause in particular with cancer. Um, but just in general, I come from a very giving family where
Mhm.
we always, like, I remember me and my mom would go to church when we were younger, and I see my mom write a check for like $1,000 at church, and I'd be like, "Mom, what are you doing? Like, you know, how many toys that could have bought me at Toys R Us, you know?"
Yeah.
But um, and you don't understand that kind of stuff until you're older, till you understand the value of giving. But my parents, they just instilled that into me, and I just try to, give back all that I've been given.
Nice. That type of cause is really near dear to my heart too, especially cancer. My mom passed away of pancreatic cancer when I was
Oh,
14.
man. I'm sorry
So
to hear that.
it's one of the most lethal. Thank you. But I definitely know what you're going through with what we go through with that. And we even do things with the magazine on that end because I don't know if you know with like breast cancer, when it comes to Black women, it actually has a more aggressive cancer than any other race of women. We've done something like spoken with like Susan G. Coleman's office and everything, and they educated us on all of that. Like it's so lethal that it literally is once it's developed, it's everything about it is totally different, and they're still trying to figure out what is the cause and why, especially in Black women. That's why it's such a big thing on prevention and maintenance and education.
Mm,
Oh yeah.
man.
Definitely. But no, this has been great, and I love talking to you about everything. So I just want to end on this note about what's next for Grant. What does Grant want next for his life in the next couple of years in this industry? And also,
Mhm.
can we expect that he maybe has in the works or that he can kind of share or tease about?
Uh-huh. Yeah, my next project is it's a film called Trigger. It'll be on Tubi. I play the character of Daniel. He's the leading man in the movie.
Nice,
Um,
congrats.
thank you very much. And the film, I guess, I can give the plot. So the film is about a young man who finds out that he loses his father, and kind of just spirals into like this, I don't know, this cycle of like dabbling in drugs and just like abusing of women, like just spirals into all the heinous activity of life.
Mhm.
And the film takes place in Detroit. um and the director, Dwayne Brown, who directed it, is from Detroit, so shooting it in his hometown. I'm from Toledo, Ohio, so I'm
Oh.
like around that neck of the woods. uh, it's been great. I say it's been great because we have, I think, a couple more days of shooting. I gotta go back,
Uh-huh.
but it's exciting, and it's just a different energy to be shooting in the Midwest versus LA, where I've worked on everything else. So it's cool. It's really excited, but I'm very happy to be a part of the movie, and I think people will like it. I really do.
Awesome. That's great. So what else does Grant want for himself within the next couple of years now that, things are opening back up, things are picking up, especially for the entertainment industry?
Yeah, my next goal is, I'm always worried about saying my goals and
You don't want to
stuff.
jinx it. Look, let's just say
Yeah,
you're
I don't.
reaching for the stars. I'm just reaching for the stars for the next couple of years. Like that's all I'm doing right now.
No, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. It's good sometimes to project what you want to do. But
Yeah,
the next goal is, and me and my team kind of talk about it. I would like to be a series regular on a good TV show with a good message and a good cast, working with good actors, good crew. So that would be the next goal, series reg. That would be really cool.
perfect. Like they say at church, you already claimed it, right? So it's gonna
Yeah,
happen.
yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
Coming. Uh,
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Grant Hall. This has been amazing. I had a great time, and I
Thank
always
you.
want to make sure the other person had a good time as well, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, perfect.